Welcome to Brilliantly British. My name is Lawrence and today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate Christmas turkey. So as I show you how, please sit back, relax with a cup of tea in hand, putting those feet up too, and enjoy this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. It's a well-known fact that when Christmas arrives in the UK, turkey is most definitely on the menu, with it often being slow roasted and served thereafter with all of the Christmas trimmings. Our previous festive episode showed you how to prepare a festive 3-bird roast of turkey, goose and chicken. However, in this episode, we'll be simplifying things ever so slightly without compromising on texture and flavours, in order to ensure that your Christmas centerpiece will have the wow factor. In this episode, to serve a stuffed, festive, roasted turkey, step by step, we'll be sharing our recipe with you for the making of a roast worthy of a place on your Christmas or perhaps Thanksgiving table, followed by a session of tasting at the end. So now, with the introductions made and your interest peaking, please allow me to introduce the ingredients to you. For today's Brilliantly British roasted Christmas turkey, you will need an onion, some carrots, some rosemary, some thyme, some sage, a turkey of course, a lemon, some tomato paste, some white pepper, some celery, some cooked chestnuts, some pork mince, some cranberries, some breadcrumbs, some garlic, some flour, some butter, followed by some wine, and to round everything off, you will need some salt and some black pepper. And that, my friends, is all you will need for today's Brilliantly British roasted Christmas turkey. But before you get started, before you do anything at all, please switch on your kettle, brew yourself a nice cup of hot tea so that you can sip on that whilst you roast. To begin preparing your stuffed festive turkey, with it breast side down, score along the spine and begin to cut along the bone to begin separating from the skeleton. On one side, you'll then want to dislocate the hip using some force, thereafter continuing by carefully cutting through the joint. Once through, continue to separate the meat from the joint, so also using some force to dislodge and slice through the shoulder joint. With both hip and shoulder joints taken care of, proceed until you reach the center of the bird after separating the breast from the bone, before repeating on the other side, making sure to keep all removed bones. Just before removing the inner carcass, first remove the wishbone before carefully removing the inner carcass without cutting through any of the skin and flesh. Once again, remembering thereafter to set aside any bones for later on. Now, with the turkey filleted, but with the legs and wings still attached, begin preheating your oven. Then season the bird heavily with salt and white pepper, rubbing in thereafter with the back of a spoon before folding and storing in your fridge to marinate and rest. Turning your attention to the turkey bones, break, chop, and or separate them into similarly sized pieces, which will require a moderate amount of force and care with a sharp knife. But then, with all of that done, lay the pieces out on a tray drizzled with oil before relocating into your oven. For the stuffing, in an oiled pan over a medium heat, begin to simmer carrots, onions and celery with a pinch of salt and a welcomed glug of wine under a lid until little liquid remains, at which point stir in tomato paste before covering and cooking further for up to 5 minutes. 5 or so minutes later, deglaze with yet more wine before turning into a bowl to begin cooling, ready for later on. Still on the topic of stuffing, in a bowl turning your mince, followed by dried cranberries, chopped chestnuts, finely chopped or crushed garlic cloves, lemon juice, followed by lemon zest, breadcrumbs, your trio of now cooler cooked vegetables, fresh rosemary, thyme and sage, white pepper, and finally some salt, before kneading all ingredients together to form your turkey stuffing. With the stuffing made and with the turkey recalled, I began stuffing my turkey starting at the middle until all of the stuffing had been relocated. Then, as shown on screen, carefully fold the turkey over to begin preparing the bird for binding. Now, as outlined by this episode's description, to bind and prep the turkey, heat-resistant twine will need to be threaded through a butcher's needle. And so, with my needle threaded, I started at the top, piercing through the skin about an inch or 2.5 centimeters from the edge, ensuring that the string doesn't slice through the skin as it's pulled through. I should also mention that the string should end with a large knot, which will act as an anchor as you stitch your way along the turkey. I honestly recommend taking your time as there's no rush, especially because you'll want to ensure that the contents are securely held in. But simply, you'll want to stitch in a zig-zag manner, making sure that you pierce through at least an inch from the edge of the skin, pull all twine through each time, and pull until you're sure that each stitch is tight and secure. Taking the time to push any loose or spilling out stuffing back in as you progress. And if all that takes place, you should find this step to be satisfying and relaxing as you begin to see things come together. With the stitching almost complete, just like me, take a moment to settle and evenly distribute the filling within the bird before turning over breast side up to stitch until fully sealed. Once fully sealed and knotted, securely bind the legs and then prime the turkey with a tensioned piece of string traversing underneath the bird before transferring to a tray, covering the legs and wings with foil, transferring to your fridge to rest overnight. I should also mention that off camera the bones were taken out of the oven when they became dark brown, as you can see, which for the first day of preparation is where I left things. On the following day, after beginning to preheat my oven, with the turkey recalled, prepare a trivet of coarsely chopped carrot, onion and celery with crushed cloves of garlic before setting the turkey atop, and seasoning with salt before placing into your preheated oven to roast low and slow. Given that the turkey will require some hours to cook passively, now would be the time to relax with a cup of tea and some brilliantly British content in hand, making sure, of course, to like and subscribe. Thank you. After a well-deserved break in the saucepan, begin to boil your roasted turkey bones, which, following an hour of boiling over a medium heat, should be discarded with the remaining liquid in the pan being strained in order to yield an aromatic turkey stock, which should be set aside for later on. Several hours later, the now golden brown turkey was carefully removed from my oven and left to rest, tented under a sheet of foil. As the meat rested, I gathered up my trivet of vegetables and transferred them into a blender with the meat juices and the stock from earlier on, blending them until smooth, with the blended mixture being passed incrementally through a sieve, yielding the most amazing gravy base. Speaking of the gravy, to prepare it, in a pan, begin by melting butter over a medium heat, and once molten, whisk in flour, and then, once homogeneous, incorporate your gravy base, adding more once absorbed as you whisk constantly. Once all of the gravy base has been added, in should go an aromatic splash of wine, a branchlet or two of thyme and rosemary, and of course a pinch or two of salt. Continuing thereafter to whisk the contents until the sauce begins to bubble and boil, at which point you can grin with the knowledge that you are now ready to serve. And with that being said, to carve up this centerpiece, half by cutting straight down the middle, followed by the removal of the legs, before slicing one or both halves before arranging on a platter or a plate to serve. So now, with the ultimate stuffed festive turkey made and your appetites peaking, I think it's time for tasting, tasting, tasting. Are you ready? Are you steady? 3, 2, 1. Wow. Wow. What an experience this is. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's still giving in flavor as well. And compose yourself, Lawrence. Compose yourself. The gravy, it's as if there is cream in there, but there isn't. It's creamy and rich and silky, smooth. And it's sweet. And I think that's come as a result of the chestnut flavor, which has leaked out of the turkey, gone into the roasting juices and into the making of this gravy. It's amazing. And you've got the stuffing. The pork with the breadcrumbs has soaked and absorbed so much of the moisture from the turkey. It hasn't allowed everything to just leak out, hence the turkey being so moist, which I should mention and show thorough appreciation. It's commonly known that roasting a turkey means that it'll be bone dry. This is absolutely not the case. It is perfect and perfectly seasoned as well. The sage, the thyme, the rosemary all come through. There's some crunch from the chestnuts. There's sweetness as well from the cranberries. Are you convinced that you sold on the idea that this is perfection? Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I think for now, I've said enough. I think what you ought to do is please go out, get the ingredients, make this turkey with the complimentary sauce, because it might just be one of the best Christmas experiences you'll have ever had, culinary wise at least. So look, please, please, please make this dish, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you all for allowing me to show you how to make the ultimate Christmas turkey. Knowing that you loved this episode, don't forget to click on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you don't miss any, and I mean any, of our new releases. Tell everyone, and I mean everyone, that you know about the brilliantly British food on this channel, and follow us on all of the social media platforms that this channel is on. And I will see you